My wife packed a suitcase to meet her dream man at a hotel 10 minutes from our house. What she didn't know was that he never existed. Her coworker had catfished her completely. When everything fell apart, she blamed me for ruining her life. Now she's begging to come back, but the door I warned her about stays permanently closed. Here's exactly how it all unfolded. 6 months ago, a hotel charge appeared on our joint credit card statement. $142.89. The date matched a night Elena said she was working late. I asked her about it directly. She didn't flinch, said it was for a work event where some coworkers booked rooms to avoid driving back. I nodded and said okay, but in my head, pieces started fitting together differently. I'm Marcus, 31, a project manager who believes in systems and boundaries. Elena and I had been married for 2 years, living in a decent apartment, splitting expenses cleanly. Rent was $16.50 monthly, utilities around $200, groceries about $400. Everything felt stable until her new coworker Dylan entered the picture. Elena started mentioning Dylan constantly after getting her new job. From how she described him, he was the fun office guy who kept spirits high, organized birthday cards, sent memes. He started feeding her ideas about modern relationships, about women living fully before settling down too much. He sent her podcasts and videos about freedom and not letting anyone hold you back. She'd share them with me casually, like it was just interesting content. I didn't react because I didn't want to be the controlling husband who gets threatened by his wife having friends. But I stayed alert and observant. Then Dylan introduced her to someone through group chats. Tall, fit, confident, a real man. Elena called him Ryan. She started mentioning him separately, saying he was funny, had good energy. At the same time, her phone habits changed. More messages, turning the screen slightly when I walked by. Nothing obvious, but enough to notice. The hotel charge made everything click. I started checking our joint card statement weekly. Small charges appeared for rides starting near Dylan's building, dinners at places we'd never been, purchases at travel stores. Elena's schedule shifted too. More late meetings, always on nights when Dylan posted location tags near her office. She said they were networking events. I replied great and kept collecting data. 1 week later, Elena invited me to meet her team after work. We met at a bar near her office. Dylan was exactly the type who talks first and never listens. He called me the quiet one before I sat down. He asked if I ever let Elena have fun, as if we were old friends. I smiled and said I manage projects for a living. Fun is a resource, not a myth. Dylan laughed too loudly, as if he needed everyone to notice. Elena laughed with him. It wasn't cruel, but she didn't stop him either. Some coworkers looked uncomfortable and glanced away. Dylan kept throwing hints. Real men don't plan their whole lives on spreadsheets. I shrugged, ordered water, and asked Elena if she'd come back with me or take a separate ride. Dylan smiled with an air of victory. I stored that entire interaction in my memory. In the following days, Dylan started tagging Elena in online posts about being independent, some memes about boring couples. Nothing direct, but close enough to be provocative. Elena reacted with laughing emojis. I didn't comment. I muted his account and took screenshots. Elena's schedule kept changing. More late meetings, more team dinners. Notifications started appearing on her phone at home. Names of group chats I didn't recognize. Dylan was always in them. The messages sounded more like performance than work. Some men don't know how to lead. Women shouldn't have to ask for things. Elena responded with smileys, true or haha. The tone wasn't work-related. It was Dylan pulling strings. One night while she slept, I linked her WhatsApp to my laptop. 2 minutes to scan the code, and everything was there. Weeks of messages between Dylan, this Ryan person, and Elena. Plans forming, the hotel reservation, what to say if someone asked. I exported everything, sorted by date, saved clean copies. Then I set my boundary. The day arrived. Elena came home early, showered longer than usual, wore perfume she never used for work. The outfit was planned, the bag packed too carefully for just a team dinner. She stood by the door as if wanting to give a speech. I was at the table answering an email, lunch plate already rinsed, living room tidy. Are you going out? I asked normally. Yes, something with the team. I might not come back tonight, she said without looking at me. I nodded. Okay, just so you know, if you leave for him, you don't come back here. The door stays closed afterwards. She barely hesitated. I need this, she said, so get over it. Then go get it, I replied, looking back at my screen. She left. I finished my email, set the alarm, and slept soundly. 3 days passed with no contact. Then Jennifer from Elena's company HR called. She asked me to come talk about an incident, her voice tired like she'd spent the morning in difficult meetings. When I arrived, 3 people were waiting. 2 from HR, 1 manager I didn't know. Elena wasn't there. Jennifer explained that messages had surfaced involving me, sent using company devices and servers. There was also a physical conflict in the office. They asked if I knew why they'd called. I said no. She exchanged looks with the manager before explaining. Messages mentioning my name and personal life had come to light, and there'd been a confrontation after someone discovered a deception. I kept my face neutral. What caused the fight? I asked. They looked at each other again. The individual Elena thought she was talking to doesn't exist, Jennifer said. The photos, the messages, everything was fake. Dylan created it all. I leaned back slowly. So Dylan tricked her by pretending to be someone else. Yes, Jennifer confirmed. She found out here at work yesterday afternoon. Witnesses say it got ugly fast. There was property damage. Security had to intervene. They reviewed the messages that morning, which led them to me, since my name appeared repeatedly. I took a folder from my bag containing the hotel receipt, card statement, and printed WhatsApp logs. Nothing graphic, just dates and names matching what they already knew. This covers everything on my end, I said, sliding it across the table. Jennifer glanced at the first page, nodded once, and set it aside. The company would handle the internal investigation. Both Elena and Dylan were suspended. I shook their hands, thanked them, and left feeling absolutely calm. That same afternoon, Elena called from an unknown number. I'm outside, we need to talk. You left Elena, I said. You know the rule, that was the deal. You're really not going to let me in? She asked. No, I said. You left for him. Talk to me from the same sidewalk you left on. She tried arguing, raising her voice about how I didn't understand, how she'd been humiliated, how Dylan lied about everything. I let her speak, then said, you packed a bag before all that. The humiliation came after, the decision came first. She started crying, demanding I listen to her version. Send it by mail, I said calmly. Then I hung up. Days turned into weeks. Elena kept trying different numbers, leaving long voicemails about how Dylan ruined everything and how cruel I was for not listening. I saved them in a folder labeled complaints, right next to the hotel receipt and HR emails. HR called again a week later. Jennifer sounded upset this time. Legal confirmed multiple complaints against Dylan from other female employees. They'd found fake profiles targeting 2 more women beyond Elena. He'd used company devices for everything, even keeping a spreadsheet on his work laptop logging who he messaged and when. Criminal charges were being reviewed for harassment, identity theft, possibly more. Police had copies of all evidence. Dylan hadn't just tricked Elena for entertainment. He had an entire system. Fake phone numbers, fake photos, even a spreadsheet tracking his targets. One woman had already filed a restraining order after seeing the logs. Meanwhile, the company's investigation wrapped up fast. Dylan was formally fired with cause for harassment, system misuse, workplace misconduct, and policy violations. Elena's termination came through too. Between planning the hotel on work devices, the public fights, and objects thrown in the office, they ended her contract with just cause. No severance, no references. Jennifer called it one of the messiest internal cases they'd seen in years. Elena appeared at my building again with her sister as backup. We're downstairs. You owe me a conversation, she texted. I replied that I owed her nothing except an empty mailbox. Her sister wrote next. Elena lost everything. You could at least talk to her. She should talk to the hotel about refunds. I answered. The door is still closed. Elena screamed from the sidewalk for 10 minutes. I looked out the window once and said, Careful, Elena. Last time you screamed at someone in public, you lost your job. They left after that. Days later, Dylan's mugshot appeared on a local news site. Employee accused an online harassment scheme. He'd been arrested for refusing to hand over his personal laptop. Police got a warrant and confiscated it, finding fake accounts created months earlier. Elena texted me after seeing the news. This is humiliating. Everyone knows now. I replied, Actions have consequences. You chose yours. Are you enjoying this? She asked. No, I said. I just stopped protecting you from the math you did yourself. While this chaos swirled around Elena and Dylan, I focused on closing out the marriage cleanly. Canceled joint streaming accounts, removed her name from utilities, moved half our savings to a new account in my name only, started legal separation with a lawyer a coworker recommended. Clean, efficient, no drama. Elena tried delaying at first, saying she needed time to process. My lawyer sent her the complete timeline with hotel reservation, HR emails, termination notices, everything dated and organized. She signed in a week. The divorce decree wouldn't arrive for months due to state waiting periods, but financially and legally, everything was resolved. Elena appeared one last time without warning, standing outside when I got home from work. "You really closed the door on me in my own life," she said with crossed arms. "No," I replied. "You handed me the keys when you left for a guy who didn't exist. You didn't even fight for us," she snapped. "Elena," I said, "you weren't kidnapped. You packed a bag, made a reservation, and lied about it. After that, there's no fight, only paperwork." The final decree arrived 2 weeks after that encounter. Signed, filed, finalized. No arguments over money or furniture. She kept what she'd taken that first weekend. I kept everything else. My lawyer sent confirmation with one line in the subject. Case closed. That was all the closure needed. Dylan eventually pleaded guilty to online harassment charges, receiving probation, fines, mandatory therapy, and a 12-month social media ban with device monitoring. I got promoted at work, bigger team, better salary. Started putting savings toward a house down payment. Began dating someone from my building seriously, normal dinners and weekends, no drama or police reports. The last time I saw Elena was at the supermarket 6 months post-divorce. She was buying cheap wine and frozen meals when she spotted me with my new partner. "I hope she likes spreadsheets and ultimatums," Elena said with that smile of someone wanting the last word. "She likes honesty," I replied. "Big change, right?" Elena's smile vanished instantly. She turned down the next aisle without another word. After that, complete silence. No calls, letters, or surprise visits. One night, I deleted the last files from my hard drive. Receipts, chat logs, hotel bill, everything. Not because I forgave anyone, but because there was nothing left to keep. She'd packed a bag for someone who didn't exist. I closed the door afterwards. Everything else was just gravity doing its job.